Hi everyone, thank you for joining today's webinar. My name is Sonia Siddiqui and joining us today is Glenn. Hi Glenn, how are you?
Hello, welcome everyone.
Well, thank you Glenn. So Glenn's got a great webinar ahead talking about how to search for jobs during this time. So before we get started, I just want to make sure that everyone understands how you are connected. Please know that you are all on listen only mode, so we will not be able to hear you, but Glenn will be taking your questions towards the end of his presentation. For that, please type your questions into the Q&A tab found at the bottom of your screen, and Glenn will take your questions once he has done his presentation. For best results, please use a laptop or a desktop computer. If you are using a browser, I suggest using Google Chrome. And if you're using mobile devices such as cell phones or tablets, I recommend downloading the Zoom app. And just to give you some information about ACCES before we get started, we've been around for over 30 years helping job seekers such as yourselves. And just in the past year alone, we were able to serve over 34,000 job seekers. We work with over 2,200 employers, and we work with tons of different organizations, community partners, professional associations, and we've got over 30 tailored programs, which include our sector-specific programs for newcomers. We've got lots of programs for youth and women specifically. Check out our website to find out what they are. And we've got 7 locations in the GTA, with our newest 7th location in Newmarket. And currently our only location that we're serving people is from online. So all of our programs have currently gone online. It is business as usual at ACCES, except it is all being done online or through the phone. And I'll tell you towards the end of the presentation how to get in touch with us and get started with your job search. I'm going to stop sharing my screen now. Glenn, you can share yours.
Welcome everyone to our session today, Getting Employed During Uncertain Times. So excited that you decided to join us today. And as we go through the journey, please keep thinking about questions you may have. Take notes of any ideas that pop up. I attend many webinars and I'm constantly taking notes and processing, looking for new ideas. So I'm hoping that this journey together over the next hour produces both new information and some questions. We're going to look at COVID-19, the impact of the change, 5 key strategies for your success and your not just job search success, but your overall success, and then we'll do some wrap up on questions. A little bit about my background. I run a company called Work Life Happiness Inc. Previously the School of Career Management. Worked at the University of Toronto for 18 years. Including the Rotman School of Management, was a senior career strategy coach for 2 talent management firms, taught at McMaster University and Centennial College Business School, and I facilitate corporate education on over 50 different health management and business related topics. As you could see, I have done presentations for quite a range of organizations, from the steel industry, airlines, all the big 5 banks, many of the in the food industry, and hospitals, universities, many organizations. So I bring a lot of that content to this presentation. So I integrate different types of knowledge as we go along. So let's see what happens here. COVID-19, if I told you back at the end of February, oh, we'd be locked down, you'd say, oh, Glenn, get out of here. That can't be true. But COVID-19 came at us like a freight train hitting a brick wall, boom, and scattered our lives in so much, maybe for want of a better word, confusion. We were trying to figure out, where we're going. Uh, we couldn't go out, so we have to figure out what we're doing at home. If you're looking for work, suddenly that changed. And then you have kids at home, you're teaching them at home, everyone is at home. So there's a lot of challenge around that. And, when you are looking for work and part of it is connecting and you feel so disconnected, it takes some effort and time to sort of reconnect and sort of re-strategize. And that's what we want to talk about today. It's how do you re-strategize? Forget thinking about when it's going to get back to what it was. From all the people that I talk to, there isn't any old that's going to come back new. It's adjusting to the new normal. I did a presentation like that for a group of engineers last week. It was quite extensive, but there's a lot of change. So adapting to the change is really, really important. Our good friend Charles Darwin, as you know, said it's not the strongest of the species that survives, nor the most intelligent. It's the one that's most adaptable. And that's really important to understand. What we have to do is shift away. Many of us have sort of a mindset. We think in a specific way. We've always done it this way. Well, that's a fixed mindset. What is really important now is to embrace what is called a growth mindset. What else can I do? Who else can I talk to? What else can I learn? Because it's asking questions that pull you out of a lockdown. And part of pulling you out is going online, and we'll talk about that as we go along. This was done by Angus Reid at the end of April in terms of the Canadian population. As you see, some were really hard hit, 26%, 16% struggling financially, some managing well. And then when we call mentally struggling, there's a lot of stress with this. And as a psychiatrist in an interview said, at least 66% of the population is struggling with some type of stress or anxiety around this. I was speaking to a doctor 2 weeks ago, and he said to me, Glenn, I know these statistics, but I would say it's a lot higher than that. A lot of folks are really struggling. And if you feel crappy right now, because you're not only locked down, you may have, you relocated to Canada, you come here with dreams and hopes of a new life, and or you've been working and it's impacted you, it's challenging. If you feel crappy about this, anxious, depressed, worried, afraid, scared, anything like that, it's absolutely normal. You're in the normal zone. I don't know anyone that gets up and say, yippee, I have to go look for work. And it's even more challenging now that COVID-19 is out there. So our minds are not at ease. And I'll talk a little bit about how to bring that to ease, because that is a big part of regenerating your energy and pushing your job search forward. This guy had a nice saying, if I'm doing anything in my life out of choice, there's no reason to complain. And if I don't have a choice, then there's no sense in complaining. So to be honest, my whole all my work is in front of people. I'm not kidding. For years now, I'm in front of people. COVID-19 came along, boom, it wiped out all my work. And I had to rethink and refocus and reshape and reset my whole self and business. It took a lot of energy, but I've made that my mission. And I think this is what is important to you, is to create a new mission. And you'll see that theme coming through in my presentation throughout. It's how do I get back on track? But I'll show you it's about creating a new track. This guy is an amazing guy, Michael Leachin. He's a half Chinese, half black Jamaican guy that moved to Canada back in the 80s, did engineering at McMaster University, worked for a year, then started a company called AIC Mutual Funds, built the largest privately held investment company in Canada. And it's private, it was never on the stock market. And he was quite powerful. And he talks about a recession when people started redeeming and selling all their investments. And, you know, you said there was a really bad write-up in the newspaper about, oh, people are selling, the strategy is not good, and investors are just bailing. And he said, I came into the office and I was like really stressed. But then the Chinese side of my culture kicked in. And he said, I recall that there's a word, forgive me if I pronounce it wrong, but weiji, which is crisis. That's in Chinese, and it's made up of two characters. And one is danger, and the other one is opportunity. And this is important to learn that reframing, especially in these times. This is not, well, I've always done it this way. No, that way is gone. History. It's how do I reinvent myself? And most of you are very, very capable, if not all of you are very capable people. And this is not a time to cry over it. Oh, it's bad. Yeah, you might cry every now and then because it is crappy. But as I said on a presentation last week, winning is all rising each time you fall. Yeah, you fall. Yeah, get up and go again. If you could move to Canada, you could do anything. Really. Moving here is not easy. It's a lot of work, a lot of energy. You've arrived. You move forward now. So look for the opportunity disguised in this difficulty or this challenge that you face. 5 key strategies for success. Your mission, open for business, your best face, the learning loop, and be wiser. Your mission. You guys may or may not know this guy, but he is Chris Hadfield. He's a Canadian astronaut, and he became the commander of the space shuttle, station at age 61. Imagine that. Talk about setting goals. That's when most people are looking to retire. He's like, oh, wow, I'm commander. And that's our goal. He's had a mission. And he said, this picture is from a YouTube video. And he said, you know, you have to think, what is your mission? What are you going after? This has nothing to do with what's out there. It has to do with you. What do you decide that you want and you're going to do? Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that could tell you, and your brain will tell you, no, what are you deciding to do? Three of the P elements that he included is set daily objectives. You know, we talk about big, long goals. Right now, it could be day to day. Set objective. What do I want to accomplish today? You could extend it. What do I want to do for the week? Or you could set monthly goals. So instead of doing, well, a year, do a month. Break it down. What do I want to do for the month of July? And break it down by week. And then every day do your tasks. Identify what you're strong at. So when you see what you want to accomplish, you say, okay, I could do this. I know about this. I know, oh, okay, I need to know more about online meetings or online interviews or online networking. And you notice I'm saying online because if you're not online, you don't exist. And if you're afraid of technology, well, I'm going to change that conversation instantly. Because if you're thinking about, I was on this session for engineers, and the chair of the area, no, the team, he said, he asked this guy to join, and he didn't see him in it. So he texted him, hey, Charlie, where are you? He said, oh, I'm not joining. He said, why? He said, oh, I don't like the Zoom thing. Imagine that, an engineer. You can't, that's a zero thought. Once you're thinking you're afraid or you're uncomfortable, you gotta reframe that totally. Life is never going to go back to what it is. I had to change my entire business to be online. And if you want to move ahead, you got to digitize yourself. I don't care if you're 2 or 200. And another reason I say this is, I'll come to that. Let's move ahead. I'll come to that. Open for business. We're going back a little bit here. Number one, be online. You know, you have to connect with your future. On your LinkedIn profile, you don't just put down all the stuff you did. That's great. That's historical. You got to think about, what do I want to do in the future? Find job postings that resemble that, whether it's jobs you're applying for or not. Look at the keywords that they use, the descriptors in their line. We want you to analyze databases utilizing Microsoft Excel, or lead classes, or whatever it is, or do research utilizing this, or however they describe it in the jobs that you want. And you take those, you find at least 3 or 4 job postings, analyze them, see what is common. So look for about the top 10 things they always ask for, and ensure, and then go back to your background and say, where did I do something like this? It doesn't matter whether it was full-time work, contract work, part-time work, wherever on the planet it is, but you embed it in that, because keyword searches is what they do. They go in and say, oh, we need this kind of professional, and here's 10 things we need from them. And they search LinkedIn. And if you base it all on the past and it has nothing to do with the future, you're at a loss. They wouldn't even see you. You're non-existent. If you don't have a profile, you're absolutely non-existent. So you should be on LinkedIn by next week, because that's how a lot of I went to an office. I used to do transition coaching, so people that get laid off. And I was in an office and and they put me to wait with 2 women in an office. And I'm like, what are you guys doing? She said, we sit here all day and we search LinkedIn for employees. So we look at their profile, we put in keywords, we search for their profiles, and then we reach out to them. So You got to be on LinkedIn. No questions asked, no second guessing. You got to put together a good profile. Search online how to put together a good LinkedIn profile. You could put PDF at the end, and there's lots of universities and colleges, especially business schools, that tell you how to do that. Facebook, lots of companies on Facebook. People say, oh, I don't want to be on social media. Yeah, well, you don't have to put the latest thing that you had for lunch or have all your friends and family connected. Sometimes it's good. I've created a community on LinkedIn, on Facebook, that is over 4,500 people. And they're all academics, they're all religious scholars, they're all entrepreneurs, business people, they're all really outstanding people. So they post only positive things. And I could get up any time of the day or night and get inspired. I used to go to the gym at 5:30 in the morning. If I don't feel like going, I open Facebook and there it is. 4 people in the UK working out already, pumping iron or running. Okay, Glenn, you gotta go. And I use that to create, it's a sanctuary of positive energy. Lots of companies post there. Twitter too, lots of information, always on Twitter. So connect, lots of Instagram is half on half, depending on what industry you want to get into. Business news, I learned this over 30 years ago. I still read business news every single day. If you want a job, it's in business news, not in the help wanted ads, because anyone talking about anything progressive, it's in the news, the business news. Yeah, there'll be crappy things like layoffs and stuff, but you don't read that. But what it does, it gives you the opportunity to discover trends in the industries, trends in all industry, education, politics, research, engineering, computer science, every single industry is in business news. And any journalist worth anything, they always interview experts in the field, like vice president of such and such or director of such and such in companies, which are great names for informational interviews. And if you don't know what one of those are yet, you go search it after. Informationalinterviews.pdf. This, I've done over 400 since I landed in Canada over 30 years ago. I do them all the time. You must learn this. I have mentored new Canadians, and that's how they succeed, through informational interviews, a lot of them. So you find the hiring trends there. This guy here, Andrew Seaman, write that down. He's on LinkedIn. He has a career show every Friday, Eastern Standard Time, that's Toronto time. And he interviews all kinds of career experts, different topics every week, every Friday at 1:30 p.m. Andrew Seaman. So check him out on LinkedIn, very cool. Your best face. If you're not on LinkedIn or Zoom, if you're not on Zoom or online yet, you gotta be there. I'm not kidding. This is not an afterthought. Well, maybe one day. No, I don't care if you're scared of a camera, you get in front of it and keep watching it until you get accustomed to it. And one of the coolest ways to do it, get a free Zoom account. It's free. You could have meetings up to 45 minutes. The cool thing about it is you can record yourself. If you have a laptop, whatever, put some books, try to make the camera at eye level or a little below. That's fine. And it's great. Practice all the time. Articulate yourself. Make eye contact. Hello. You. And that's critical. We watch the screen when we're talking to people. No, don't do that. If you're in an interview, we used to coach people to do Skype interviews. Gotta watch the camera, because then the person on the other side feels like you're connecting with them. You see the difference? I'm looking at you. Hello. Welcome aboard. Great to have you here. Or I could look here. Hello. How you doing? Oh, yeah, very good. What's the difference? You just saw the difference. Record yourself. Play it back. Get in tune with it. It's a lot of fun once you get into it. And keep a professional presence. You know, don't take casual meetings as just casual. It doesn't matter. Once you're looking for work, dress decently. Try to shave. I don't always shave. So I avoid Zoom meetings in person, but I do it most of the time. But, you know, anytime I have meetings, I prepare for the meeting. So I dress as if I'm going to a face-to-face meeting. And that is really important, because your image online is everything. The other piece that I'm thinking here is learn how to articulate yourself in English. And we'll come to that in the next piece, because this is also very, very important. I see a question. I will come to it after. The learning loop. If you thought you went to school and you finished learning, erase that idea from it. Delete it. Press delete on your computer. That is a zero. I learn every single day. I attend between 1 to 5 webinars a week. There's lots of free webinars out there. At Schulich Business School, I've found 1 or 2 at Rotman, there's at Ryerson. And because I have such an active Facebook community, and when I'm on LinkedIn, people are always posting free webinars. A lot of folks, a lot of experts are keeping their business alive by being online and giving away free content, folks, just like you're here today. So congratulations. You know, pat yourself on the shoulder. Good job. You're here today. You're listening. You're engaged. You want to move forward. And webinars, that's how I learn. I learn constantly by webinars. edX and Coursera. I just chose 2 of the bigger ones. edX, just search edX. I might show it to you near the end. So I wouldn't have to cut off the, both you can do university courses from places like Harvard, Stanford, Johns Hopkins, Yale, I think Oxford, U of T, and they're free courses. University professors, renowned professors are teaching this. You could pay a small amount and get the certificate, but I signed up for courses at Harvard, Stanford, Yale, MIT. There's so many amazing courses. If you're not there, you're missing out. And it's free. It's free, folks. And you just keep your knowledge moving, and you could plug that on your resume. I know so many people doing it now. You know, they beef up their LinkedIn, taking this course at Harvard. Yeah, you get the brand. It's beautiful. What more can you ask for, folks? And then TEDx. TEDx has hundreds, thousands of professionals in all kinds of industries, talking about anything really. It could be from sleep to getting over anxiety to pushing forward, you know, through difficult times. Lots of great stuff. And when I say sharpen your soft skills, it's become even more important. Your ability to articulate yourself. Because, you know, we don't know when it's going to go back into face-to-face. That could be an extended period of time. Are you going to sit there waiting and just you know, drumming away on the desk saying, I hope this thing's changed. No. George Bernard Shaw said, the people who get on in this world get up and look for the circumstances they want. And if they can't find them, make them. You guys are making your way. You make your way here to Canada. Like, yay, this is great. And you continue to make your way. Yeah, and yes, it's not easy. I went through that. It's quite brutal sometimes. And add COVID on that, and it's like, whoa, where did this come from? But you got to shake yourself up. You got to shake the situation up. You got to shake off all that doubt and say, I'm back in the race. You know, you got to put yourself out there. You got to push yourself daily. Yeah, you got to find oh, that's the next one. Let's flip that page here. Be wiser. Drink lots of water. Water, I was on a webinar, medical webinar conference one Saturday for a half day. There were nearly 2,000 doctors on it. But we always talk about exercise and stuff, but one of the things they emphasize is drink a lot of water. I think it's about 1.5 liters a day. I have a client I'm coaching now, and she is a fitness expert. She says she drinks 3 liters of water a day. And water helps you manage your stress. I think the brain and heart is about 80% water. You gotta drink a lot of water. Very, very important. Manage your intake. Eat nutritious foods. Be aware of sodium. Maximum for a day is 2,000. One of those breakfast sandwiches we normally buy when we go out is over 1,000 milligrams. 2 of those and you're shot for the day. And avoid that. Watch your sugar intake. 1 can of pop has 10 teaspoons of sugar. 4 grams of sugar, 1 teaspoon. You look at it when we finish the seminar. That is, would you put 10 teaspoons of sugar in your tea, in a cup of tea or a cup of coffee? I don't think so. So I'm going to encourage you to ketchup, packed with sugar. And anything with glucose, fructose, just look at the back of all the things you buy and look at how much sugar. Those cans of soup, 600, 700, 800 milligrams of sodium. Be very careful, folks, and avoid alcohol. It's a depressant. Avoid any kind of, if you smoke, quit. I used to smoke occasionally. I went to my doctor for my physical, and he said to me, "Are you still smoking?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "You know better than that." I quit. I just stopped. Just do it. Intend it and make it happen. This is about you, folks. I have a friend that I got some news yesterday. Yeah. He picked up this, he got laid off, he picked up this reckless lifestyle. He was a little reckless before, but he couldn't be out much. Drinking, smoking, everything. Boom. He's gone. Died. Massive heart attack. Think about yourself. Think about your kids. Your body is a temple. Take care of it. Sleep. Adults need about 7 to 8 hours of sleep a day, sometimes a little more, sometimes a little less, but you gotta be sleeping. Figure out how to learn how to sleep. Exercise. About 30 minutes a day on average, 5 days a week. Could break it up in 10, 10, and 10. Start off with 2 days a week, maybe 10, between 10 and say 15 minutes. Start off. If you're not doing it, go for a walk. Get out, do things because your body needs to recuperate and energize itself. Relax. Now, I talk about physical vitality, right? When you exercise, you build physical vitality. That helps your body be more resilient. You could take on more stress. You're more resistant to stress and illnesses. Not that you won't get ill, but you're resilient to it. The opposite is important. So that's physical health. The opposite is equally important for mental health. And mental health does not equal mental illness. Mental health is, you want to build mental vitality. And it's the opposite. It's time out, it's relaxing, it's letting go. Look online, there are things like Insight Timer, Breathe, Headspace, Calm. There's lots of apps that you could download. Just Google them and you'll find them. Insight Timer has a lot of free ones. So start off there. You could do a 2-minute guided meditation. It's amazing. All these are definitely important for managing your well-being. Your well-being is who you are, and it helps you manage your stress. Michelle Obama, she was being interviewed when she left the White House, and a group of young girls asked her, how are you going to get your life back on track? And her words I find so pertinent to what we do today. Life is different forever. Forever. It's not about getting back on track. It's about creating my next track. Oh, my new next track. What track are you going to create? It's about creating it. It's not looking back. We can't look back. The past is gone. You can't carry it along with you. It's history. It's what are you going to get up and say, yeah, I want this. How do I get it? How do I get it? If you took the courage to move here, or however you got here, it's not easy making a move. But you made that move, so time to make another move. How am I going to get my life moving forward in the direction I want? ACCESS has tremendous services. I've been aligned with them for many years. And if you got to use them, everything they have. So I just want, before we go into Q&A, I'm going to stop a moment here and see if I could share this, if I could find it. There we go. This is Coursera website. Hope you're seeing it. University of London, Colorado, Johns Hopkins, right? Their universities are all different types of universities. Michigan, Pennsylvania, that's Ivy League. Stanford. Yeah, a lot of great courses that you could do in all kinds of areas. edX has these types of, some of these universities here from all around the world, great universities in all different types of languages. Not languages, different types of areas. So lots of free stuff there, folks. And TEDx. Another thing you should be on. Now, the one I didn't tell you about is masterclass.com. The only reason I didn't tell you about it is because you have to subscribe to it. And let me see if I could pull it up here. Yeah, it's here. It's, there we go. It's a bunch of experts from all over. Let's see if I could play this. I don't know if you'll hear it. Okay, so back to my presentation here. So question and answers. I think I did see some questions coming through. Someone said hello. Hi. How can I find links of business news? Very simple online. I go to what is free. I don't pay for anything. Global News, .ca, CTV News, CBC. I used to get stuff from Bloomberg in the US. I think they want me to pay. What is another? Canada News Wire, I think it is. It's news releases on a regular basis. So just skim through the headlines. Don't get lost in layoffs. Connect with, if you see an industry that you're interested in. And what I've recently started to do is, not recently, but for a while now, skim health. You could skim technology. You could skim life. All these headlines are often about something important in terms of that related to some type of business. For example, there was a shopping mall collapse, a garage that collapsed. It sounds like a tragedy. Yes, it was. But I don't think anyone was killed. But what happened is someone, it was in a particular part of Ontario, and a civil engineer wanted work in that area. And what happened is there was an article on it, and the journalist interviewed the consulting firm that was doing the business for it. And they named the lead project consultant, engineering consultant. That was his contact to do an informational interview. So there's a lot, I've gotten so many names out of business news or any kind of news. You should be looking at business news on CBC. I'm trying to remember what time. But get to know what's happening out there. What's the difference? I think I showed you. I think it's, I can't say one is better. I use both. They both have amazing universities and amazing courses. There are many others, but those are the two bigger brands that I trust. We talked about business news. I would read business news related to different industries because it's important. Right now, because everything has changed, we might be interested in a particular industry and it's like, oh, okay, nothing's happening there, or there's been such a massive slowdown. We got to rethink, look at the trends, where technology has a lot of work and anyone could work in technology. The other piece to this is I read today that 99% of the small and medium-sized businesses in Canada do more, 99% of the businesses doing hiring are the small and medium-sized. Everyone wants to work for a big bank or this, and great. So does, a bank might get over 120,000 applications a week, a month. Are you going to be one of them? You get lost in a database. There's a lot of great medium-sized companies or organizations in many industries, and people don't go hunting for them because they don't know they exist, but they need people just like everyone else, and they're great companies. And so there's a lot of work out there if you look for it. Can't look for it just sitting online. Well, for now, yeah. But connecting with people and talking to people is very important. Any websites for listening to interview and talk shows? There's a good question. I look at a lot of YouTube and a lot of TEDx. There's a lot of stuff there. Someone recommended me, I do this occasionally. Podcasts. If you have Apple or you subscribe to one of them, there's a lot of free podcasts that you could pick up on. Yeah, a lot of courses on Coursera might be paid. Yeah, but many of them you could do for free. And if you want the certificate, if you want it, you pay a small fee for it. Well, a lot of people just do the courses. So that is a choice. I paid for one. But yeah, it's a matter of learning. If you get the content free, why not? You know, and that's if someone asks you, so since we shut down for COVID, what have you done? Well, I've been looking for work. Oh, yeah, I was looking for a course on this and I found it and I spent some time learning about this. Yeah, that's being proactive. So it's a key part of it. Do employers and recruiters count webinars and other online seminars as a plus to your job seeking, especially when you don't have Canadian experience? Ah, any type of learning is important. I remember when I was at U of T, now this is quite a while ago, and recruiters would come to recruit engineers, for example, and they have a pretty brutal program. But there's some companies that say, we will not hire people that just studied and did nothing else in their life. And because we look for what else people do. So once you're learning, you demonstrate that and I have been looking at the job market, and for 25 years, it's been changing very fast. And I was going to say this earlier. A friend of mine, he's a VP for a very large company, and his team went to Google recently, and Google talked about life changing in the next 10 years, where 60% of the jobs could be impacted and changed. And I was reading some articles out of the OECD, Organization for Economic Development Countries, or something like that, forgive me. But they were also saying that within the next 10 years, our life is going to change as much as the last 30 since the internet has been around. So this is why I say technology should be part of what you do and your being. And yeah, people want to see you learning. They just don't want to. And sure, you could put that on your LinkedIn profile. Nothing wrong with that. Who knows? I know someone who was it? They were taking a free course on lean, and they put it on their profile, and the recruiters were looking for someone with lean, and they had a strong background in other areas. So yeah, and Canadian experience is a funny thing. Many people don't understand what that really is. It's not just about working in Canada. It's about understanding Canadian workplace culture. It's really, really tricky sometimes to understand it. And I'll give you 3 key pieces to it. Number one, people are not straightforward. So like if you're doing a job and you did something they don't like, in many cultures, not all, they might say, I don't really like what you're doing here. It can't be that direct. What they will do is they'll say, my concern is. If you hear the word concern, is they don't like what you're doing. So don't do it. The second thing is what I consider the deadliest word in Canadian, suggest. If I may suggest. Now you translate that from any language that you know apart from English. And even in English, the word suggest doesn't mean do it this way. But if a manager or a leader says, if I may suggest, it means do it this way. And yeah, and there's another piece that is very subtle in interviews that I learned many years ago through my own sense discovery. I am a very avid learner like that. Many of us were taught to give verbal feedback. Mm-hmm, uh-huh, right, yes. Have you ever been on the phone talking to someone here and you're talking to them and they don't say anything and you say, "Are you there?" Being silent is part of the core way of listening when someone is speaking in the traditional Canadian culture. So if you're accustomed to giving verbal feedback or expecting it, it could be a mismatch. Be very aware of that I change mine depending on who I'm talking to. I'm so accustomed being silent when people are speaking. When I call people abroad, they call me Matt, short for Matadine. They'll say, "Matt, are you there?" I say, "Mm-hmm, right, uh-huh." That's three things. Concern means I don't like what you're doing at all. Suggest, do it this way. And if you're talking to someone and they're silent when you are talking, when they talk, be very silent. If you could see them, give them eye contact and nod your head. How to deal with negative side? Try to be positive. I'll give you a technique that I developed that I use in many of my seminars. It's important to break the cycle, and part of it is emotional intelligence. I'm giving you a lot of content here because it comes from many different dimensions. It's emotional intelligence, it's Stephen Covey's highly effective people, and it's a mix of sports. Number one, Stephen Covey says the circle of control is only your thoughts, your attitudes, your words, your behaviors, and your feelings. If you feel overwhelmed at any time, say time out. Step back physically. Or if you're sitting, stand up, time out, step back, say, okay, what's happening? And the feeling or the whatever is bothering you most will come forward and tell you. It's like kids in a classroom. It's always a bad one. Me. And what happens is that, yeah, I feel frustrated. What am I frustrated about? I'm frustrated that, I don't know this online thing, okay, so move towards solutions. Yeah, I am solution focused in my coaching. What can I do? Okay, I could reach out to ACCESS. Okay, I could sign up for a free Zoom account. Okay, so identify what's frustrating you, what about it, and then what are the solutions, and act on it immediately. Don't wait. You get to control your direction, but you're not afraid of feeling uncomfortable. And by switching and shifting to solutions, you feel more confident, and it gives you that comfort zone of dealing with heavy emotions, but yet directing that energy towards positive movement. Very, very important. I'm a project manager, new to Canada, job market. I attended many online webinars, training, right? Should I list? You can list some of your stuff online, definitely, or in your LinkedIn profile, especially if it's project management related. It's a way to show that you're active. And yeah, why not? I have all kinds of stuff on my LinkedIn. And you could have courses or webinars, if you could create one and just add them. I've done that for volunteer work, which has quite historically. So add stuff, be visible, highlight the challenges that salespeople will face. Oh yeah, you will face challenges because we move from face-to-face to being online. But if you want a job in sales, depending on what it is, I met a guy wanting pharmaceutical sales. And he kept selling resumes. You can't get a sales job by selling resumes. You often it's face-to-face, so it would be digital. I told him connect with the sales managers and do informational interviews. If you don't know what that is, you should learn it. I do that all the time. All my jobs I've gotten, 99.9% of them have all been through, even the dead of a recession. I did so many information into it. I mentored a new Canadian. He moved from India, I think, and then he was in the UK and then moved here. And he went out there and he was in project management, but he ended up in a bank. A lot of networking. Canadian education is good to have. It's good to take a course if you can. The thing is, people don't hire education. They hire people to do their work. It's important. Education is important, but unlike the other countries where you go to school, you get a good education, and you get a good job, that doesn't work in Canada. Getting an education it shows that you have the ability to learn. That is important. There are doctors that are unemployed here. They're PhDs by the dozen because they not a lot of academic work. Education doesn't guarantee you in the door. What you have to do is figure out your focus. I have a formula that I used once for a group called CHAMP. You have to have clarity about what it is you want and then what you can offer them in terms of their skill set. Find out what are the top 10 things where in your background you might connect that or you've done that. ACCES, hardware. So you must be online now. You must have a resume. You must have the tools ready to go, to use and be able to use it. A is your attitude. Your attitude determines your altitude. You could say there are no jobs out there. I moved to Kingston, Ontario 30 years ago in the middle of a recession. First person I talked to asked me, "Oh, you're looking for a job?" I said, "Yes." She said, "Well, good luck." Okay. What do you mean? I know at least 300 people looking for work. Nobody has found work in 2 years. I'm like, okay. All right. Tell me that. And game's on. I went out there and did informational interviews every single day. In 8 weeks, I got appointed to the Mayor's Advisory Committee. Somebody just liked me because I was proactive. Then I got appointed to a Police Commission Advisory Council. I was volunteering in a group. 26, I was the only non-white. I was part of Kingston Employment Equity Network, the only non-white, only non-employed. Unemployed, and I would dress for it. I got a part-time job. I went out there, and then in 11 weeks, I got a job as a senior employment counselor, beating people out with up to 7.5 years Canadian work experience, a master's degree, and the guy used to run an agency in BC. Are you kidding me? If you want it, you gotta go for it. And that's important. That is started with the astronaut. Okay. Somebody wanted to see the astronaut. Mark, yeah, not a question. Okay, I just moving through. Did you say nodding your head is acceptable? Yeah, nodding your head, keeping your eyes, a little smile is good, and that's important. But watch the verbal output. I am very conscious of that. I went into a meeting and there were 16 people and only one, even though she's lived here for 16 years, no, 30 years, she still was doing it. And it was very noticeable. And what happens is people find that interrupting unconsciously. How did you deal with burnout? You should go to your physician immediately. With burnout, you gotta go to your physician. You gotta deal with your stress. Stress is huge. And that's one of the biggest obstacles we have. That's why I go back to things like drink lots of water, watch what you eat, avoid any kind of drugs as much as possible. I've done that before, being so anxious and anxiety, we try to transfer it into eating and drinking and stuff. Yeah, burnout is, you got to go to your physician and deal with it. You know, you head on. Don't be afraid of it. Some medium size asked you, why do you want to leave a big company for a small company? It could be lifestyle. It depends. Tell them you're choosing to reposition yourself. You've thought about what you want to do. You've had experience. You looked at their company. You've done the research. And you're really choosing them because of this. And find 2 or 3 clear reasons why you're choosing them. Nothing wrong with that. Thank you. And you guys could connect with me on LinkedIn if you're open to that. I have I use it as a database, but you have to use it respectfully. I have over 22,000 people on LinkedIn. Oh, champ, yeah. Somebody has attitude, yeah. Clarity, hard work. Well, it's really hardware. So your tools, your attitude determines your altitude. M is movement. You got to keep your job search moving. Sitting at home and just kind of scrolling around online, that's not moving. Sending out resumes all the time, that's not movement. Resumes alone are very inefficient. Learn how to connect with people. And it can be done. Any one of you that decided to live here or you're here, you could learn anything. Don't underestimate your capacity to learn. Immigrants are some of the most amazing people on the planet, because just once you land here, everything could be so overwhelming. You're like, oh, you learn so much just by setting foot here. And you stopped A for attitude. Okay, I finished that. And P is persistence. Persistence is the power of progress. Remember that. That is my statement. Persistence is the power of progress. You got to keep on, as they say in yoga. You got this. You know, you didn't get here just, you know, you didn't move to Canada and it was easy. You didn't get to where you are in life easily. You put out a lot of energy. And you got this. This is a country of immigrants. Half of Toronto is 3 million people. Over half of them were born outside of Canada. Where else could you live like that? So you got access. You got access. You got a great service at your fingertips. So I'm here on the end. We just over 12 o'clock. So if there are no other questions, I want to thank you guys. Just one thing. So I want to take this back and I'll give it back to you. I just want to close here. Oops. And I'll give it back to you. Oops. Yeah. So manage your change. Change is a reality and it's going to continue to be that way. Just determine, time out, step back, what's happening, what about it, where are the solutions, and act immediately, if not before, if they say in my culture. Get focused and get connected. Find people out there, read business news all the time. Keep learning. Learning must become it's the only addiction I think that is important. You gotta take in new content all the time. And the more you do it, it doesn't have to be reading for hours. Yeah. Boom, you take on some new stuff and be wiser. Water, manage your intake, sleep, exercise, and relaxation. So that's it. We time out there. Sonia, you can take it back. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Glenn. Thank you very, very much. That was very informative, and thank you for going through all of the questions. Just so everyone knows, our next webinar coming up is Wednesday, July 8th, and that's, I'm gonna close the window here. So, and you can check that out on our website, accessemployment.ca, online event series. And if you're interested in us helping you with your job search, please call the closest ACCESS location and somebody will be able to start helping you with your job search. If you are overseas and have your PR, you can email cec@accessemployment.ca to help us get you started with your job search before you arrive in Canada. And you can follow us on our social media to find out what's happening at ACCESS. We are very active on Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Facebook. So thank you everyone for joining today. And thank you very much, Glenn, again, for a very informative webinar.
Oh, Sonia, somebody asked the slide on the astronaut.